Do we not have a public input on this meeting?
No, not at all.
I just noticed that we had it on last night's planning commission meeting, so I was just wondering why it wasn't on this one. Not that we need to add more stuff. All right, it's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, the clerk would please take the roll.
Lambert,
Present.
Koval,
Present.
Bradley,
Yes.
Robert Mackey,
Here.
John Peters,
Here.
Mike Sexton.
Okay, the clerk will note that we do have a quorum present with 6 members. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike and a second by Nicole to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 3, public hearing portion of the meeting on the proposed 2026 village budget. We need a motion to open this public hearing, Devin?
I prefer all public hearings have a motion to open.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mike to open the public hearing on the 2026 budget. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. We are open for public hearing on the budget. Does anybody wish to address the board?
I don't see any.
Unbelievable.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
we have a motion by Mike and a second by Arvid to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carried. We are closed. Which is item 4, apparently. Item 5, any proposed amendments to the proposed 2026 budget? Anybody have anything to propose? Moving right along. Item 6, Resolution 2507 to appropriate funds for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 26, and to authorize the levy of sufficient tax upon the taxable property within the village of Osceola. Need a motion to adopt the resolution.
I will make a motion to adopt resolution 2507.
Thank you, Van. Is there a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Nicole. We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2507. Any discussion on this motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Item 7 on the agenda is resolution 2508 to authorize the borrowing of $295 for the purposes of the 2026 general operations. Entertain a motion to authorize that resolution.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Ron.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Van. We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2508. Any discussion on this motion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Item 8, other business and possible action regarding 8A, Sini Werzer LLC site plan for development of 76-unit multifamily housing project on parcel 165-582-300.
Russ, I'll let you introduce the project and then we'll go through the site plan review.
Sorry.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Russ Kivney with Cedar Corporation. To give you a brief summary regarding the engineering and design for the Sini Werzer multifamily project. Again, it's on 6.3 acres along Ridge Road, an extension of Ridge Road street utilities that the village is currently designing. 76 units, 4 16-unit buildings and 1 12-unit building.
The maps for
The
this.
12-unit building's similar to what C.D. Werzer built a year or so ago on Ridge Road. Typical N-unit garages with a parking space in front of the
Starting on
garage,
page
so
8.
2 spaces per unit. The 16 units are basically the same building. We just have two more garage units on each end. And then those additional units with the 16 unit buildings. The site plan and engineering, we have proposed 2 stormwater ponds, that the site is, stormwater runoff is conveyed to those ponds. They're pre-treated and volume storage and controlled release at pre-development rates. We're extending water and sanitary sewer. Village's proposed water and sanitary sewer in Ridge Road, and extending that to the 5 different buildings. Each building has a 6-inch water service. They're sprinkling the buildings and a 6-inch sewer lateral. We have storm sewer throughout the site, primarily in between the buildings and the courtyard. Some areas that have curb and gutter and storm sewer that conveys everything to the 2 stormwater ponds. Part of the village review comments, we're adding and submitted plans later today. Water main along the west property line that'll extend up to the northwest corner of the site, so that when the village continues south on Ridge Road, they'll connect that with a new water main and have a loop system through the site. Trying to think what else we have.
The village also requested a fire truck turnaround in the parking lot, what they added.
Yes, northwest corner, fire access. Along the west side of the 16 unit buildings, we expanded the 5-foot sidewalk to a 10-foot concrete sidewalk for fire access. We have fire hydrants, valves, the water system, lighting. The developers, electrical designers working on addressing the plan review comment on the photometrics and making some revisions so the lighting doesn't cast onto neighboring property. South side of the site is the same developer owner. So this project is village-owned property, being purchased by C&E Werther. It's in your TIF district, so it'll provide some nice new TIF value. With that, open up to any questions.
I got it.
I'll quickly go over what happened last night at planning commission for you guys too. So unless you want your question
I
answered.
just have, it's a weird one, of
No
course.
problem.
What are the depth? What's the depth of these ponds?
They're, they'll hold, they're designed as wet detention ponds. So they'll hold 5 feet of water
Okay.
from the normal water surface. Typically, the DNR and also in our designs, we like to have an infiltration area. Rock is so shallow. And in an area, we hit rock at 2.5, 3 feet below grade in some areas. So then you can't do the dry ponds with the infiltration. You have an exemption through the DNR, so that's why both ponds are totally wet ponds.
Okay, so you lose water eventually, or is
They
it?
will through just evaporation and so forth.
Okay,
You know, if you get a dry period, they'll drop a little bit, but the ponds will be lined. It's either a synthetic liner or a clay liner,
oh, okay.
because DNR has a separation, you know, to soil and so forth with rock, so they're lined ponds. So the only time they'll lose water is evaporation. In a hot
Just rock
summer,
under there, so
Yeah.
there's nowhere for the water to go.
Nothing.
but not totally dry.
Yeah.
You might use 6 inches or
Yeah.
8 inches.
Who maintains these ponds moving forward, say in 10 years?
They're all set up to be privately owned and maintained by the developer. They have a maintenance that the village requires and also DNR, the developer, and they're being set up as a condominium association. So their attorney has drafted condo documents that spell out the operation and maintenance of the ponds and all the other common areas. We have an easement covering the village water and sanitary sewer that comes in to the development, and then also along the west property line to the northwest corner. Those easements are dedicated as utility easements to cover the village sanitary and water system. Other than that, sewer, ponds, green area, the trails around the pond, so forth, will all be owned, operated, and maintained by the condominium association.
I got a handful of questions, but I want to hear Devin, what happened last night?
Last night, there was a motion to approve the site plan at passed 5-0. There were some conditions added to the motion to move this forward to recommendation to the board. Number one was DNR approval for the stormwater plan, which is a typical requirement of all of our site plans. Number two was making sure that there is a photometric shielding added on the west and south exposures. Your photometric guy called me today. And I don't understand a lick of what he said. But as Mike has pointed out in the past, our code does not really dictate.
Our code asks for a plan. It doesn't give us any criteria.
No. So I told him to make sure we're using best practices, because that's one area that our code does need some serious attention on. Is it's mentioned, but there's no guidelines for engineers or developers to follow, which does create some issues. Final confirmation of garbage screening, that was number 3 on
What screen?
the
Garbage.
Garbage.
Oh, garbage. Sorry.
making sure the garbage is screened
Garbage
off.
area screened off, yeah.
And then the following items to coordinate final village roadway design and staff review. Finalization of water main locations, that's dependent on the street design, so that cannot be at this time be agreed upon, because we still need to design the street and where the connections are going to happen. High points for water mains and hydrant locations, those are once again, Rick and Eric will sign off on based on the design of the street project. And then also provide installation between water main and stormwater. That is going to be down to depth and where they're located at too. So that one is also, as construction is going on, will be approved by Rick and Eric. And then the last one would be connect the stormwater pond discharge to Ridge Road storm sewer. That one also is dependent on the Ridge Road redesign too. So some of the outstanding issues are contingent on the Ridge Road project to go forward, which it is designed. It's supposed to go forward next year. We are in a development agreement with the developer to have the road at least gravel finished by June 30th next summer, and then the lift to be done after that. So these two projects will be working together, and because of that, some of these final sign-offs happen during design and construction of the road. That, once again, that motion was passed 5-0 last night. And then some of the issues or I should say, some of the items mentioned in Eric's memo, tonight before you kind of have a corrected memo. This is the one for the C.E. Werzer building. Number 11, that has since been, no, I'm looking at anything that's referencing code 215 is not applicable here, as it's not a traditional neighborhood development. Therefore, anytime the 215 was referenced, it does not apply to this project, and it is not a traditional neighborhood development. Other issues that or I should say, comments that we have, final village approval of stormwater contingent on DNR approval. And then I believe that is it for the comments that I had on here.
So is there any stormwater on Ridge Road that goes back to like our stormwater management?
That's what's going to happen with the Ridge Road project currently. We're designing the new Ridge Road extension with stormwater in mind. So that's why it is contingent on kind of what we're doing.
So it's not going to just randomly end up down in the river or nothing. It'll end up in the
No,
stormwater
there's,
system.
we're still trying to figure out if it's going to be piped or have drainage, or it's going to be ditched. We're trying to figure the cost of each and what's it going to fit into our budget at this time. But there is going to be some stormwater part of the Ridge Road extension, especially where the old Ridge Road was, and that's going to be a trail. So it's going to follow it down and connect to our stormwater on 35. That is the plan right now.
And from the plans I've seen, there's a small pond that Ridge Road water will discharge into, and then discharge out of that pond, and then kind of follow.
You said there's a trail?
We're proposing a trail to go where the old Ridge Road is.
Yeah.
The design is connected all the way to
Is there stormwater down that road?
Down 35, yes.
No, down Old Bridge.
I don't think so.
No, it's all
That's why
pretty
it's
much
gonna
a
be,
rural section.
that's why it's gonna be so expensive to do this the stormwater project, and we're looking at options for of how we're going to achieve the stormwater right now.
So I'm trying to look up code 215. I know that you talked about lighting being basically designed for the surrounding area.
Well, does 215 not even apply?
It doesn't for this
Two
development.
fifteen is
That's what
not
I'm asking.
applicable, yep. Yeah, 215 is not applicable because,
B landscaping, yeah.
So Ron, that's actually one of the little things I dug into in college and got certified in. What they've given us here is garbage. There's not enough data to evaluate it, but we don't have an ordinance that supports anything.
And that's one thing I want to look into or fix right away, because I know Quick Trip spent a lot of time and money and redesign for the lights because of the senior living home there. And because. of
There is
the
best
multiple-
practices
you know
for
what
sure.
I mean, we don't want to, people who build, whether it's a business or a new nursing home, is open to area development, as long as that development doesn't come in with great big giant lights or impact their
Right.
residents. So I'm glad to hear that you're considering that, but we probably need to shore that up.
yeah, I talked to Eric today about it. SEH they have lighting engineers on their staff that he said that he'll get in touch with me so we can start formulating ordinances and how that's gonna look for
So
the village moving forward.
we looked at a photometric plan for Excel and I missed it, but we ended up with too much spill on the backside where it would be nice to get a better ordinance. Russ, you got to get rid of that detail in your drawings. You're suggesting a 35
Oh,
foot
yeah,
high
that's-
pressure sodium
yeah,
fixture.
that's- Yeah, the electrical.
That's before my
designers
era.
changing that. Yeah, that's an old detail. that-
Yeah, and that was my comment, and I don't know if it got read out at the
It did.
planning commission last meeting, but I hope there isn't other generic details like that in here that open up for somebody to build whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
But again, we don't have an ordinance to support it and potentially it doesn't apply anyway. The comment back about the cutoff, which is essentially it should be like 0-foot candles at the property line. I'm gonna hope SEH follows through on that. I know how to read this plan if the numbers were big enough. They're not big enough. So I'll just have to bank on SEH making a good judgment call. And honestly, Russ, you don't have to follow it because our ordinance doesn't say nothing. It just, you have to provide.
Yeah, and that's what the electrical designer, he asked me, what's the criteria? I said,
There isn't any.
He called me the day,
Contact Devin.
I copied and
if there is
pasted our village
anything,
code and
yeah.
said there's no standard, so please. use
Zero
best-
at the foot line, at the property line.
I
is
said,
the
please
right
use
way to
best
go.
practice.
Yeah, and
And
best,
we'll have, I know the developer.
best practice would call
Well,
for
I'll tell you,
zero.
on Excel, you didn't though. Because it's not zero at the foot, at the property line.
We didn't design the
Oh,
electrical.
sorry, then they did.
Oh, my God.
Mr. Munson didn't complain, so I'm not gonna point it out.
But I remember that we had to, help that along.
I've been slowly asking this question, because again, one of my complaints is Third Avenue looks like garbage. And we don't have a plan, and one of these days, we're gonna end up with a larger development the neighbors are gonna complain.
Yep.
And every project we get creeps a little bit further that way.
Right.
And on the other side, you can have too much and you also have too little. So when you get to the D and K thing, I've got a comment about, I'd like to see something out at the street, because there's nothing there right now at that intersection.
Yeah, and I
we
think,
have-
didn't the
have a-
engineer's memo talk about some lighting concerns
moved
though
some
on the
things.
west and on the south, right? They
For
wanted
what?
to hood them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll essentially, if you provide, you can do it a couple different ways. If you
Shielding.
want zero at the property line.
Which would be best practice.
Yes.
So that's a note for planning and everything else to get working on so we can fill this gap.
Yeah, 26 will involve looking at that for sure.
Uh,
We haven't had that many developments where we needed to
No,
dig into
but
that
it all creeps up on
deficiency,
you, all the
but
stuff
now it's
does.
happening, so.
We gotta stay ahead of it.
Is there a sign? There is a sign. There's a monument sign out front.
Yeah, that was.
Yes,
part of
it's
the
in-
package.
Yeah, the first entrance as you're heading north.
Does that mean our
That goes
signage ordinance?
between, in front of the 12-unit building. Right, and we've since moved that 10 feet off.
That was the only issue we had with it was the setback.
The design meets it though?
Yeah, and there was a sign detail design provided.
Right there.
I'm looking at it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, and that's the proposed project name, River Ridge.
River Ridge.
not too far from Easy Street.
Right,
Last night joke.
Oh.
it's coming.
Yeah.
So what are we looking for an approval of this?
A motion to approve.
Motion to approve the site plan, yep.
Moved.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion by
Oh,
Mike.
wait, let me back up a second.
With the conditions,
With
please.
conditions, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll make
Oh.
a friendly amendment to add conditions so drafted by the planning commission last
Yeah.
night.
Thank you, because
All the standing ones
we
still
just talked
apply.
yesterday that was missing in the XL motion. It just, the XL one just got approved without conditions.
Yeah, can you read back the 4 that were placed on last night's approval again? So that Carrie can get them into the motion.
Carrie there on that memo. Okay. We made sure we typed the motion out from last night.
With the following conditions: DNR approval of the stormwater plan, photometric shielding added on west and south exposure, final confirmation of garbage screening, and the following items coordinated with village roadway design and staff, which talks about A, B, and C, and D, which was present in item 12. So we're talking about the high points of water mains, insulation between the water main and stormwater crossings, water main locations, and the stormwater pond discharge, all going to happen with Ridge Road. So those are the 4 conditions that would be on this, same ones that came from last night.
Do we want to add a condition of best practices when it comes to lighting?
The comment was already there about the shielding. That should get it to the 0.
Okay.
I'm hoping, but again, there's not enough info here to say anything and our ordinance doesn't really support anything. So,
And I'll mention that to the lighting designer, that that's what you're looking for, 0-foot candles at the property line. That's what he was asking me, and I'm not an electrical engineer, so.
Yeah.
I have no idea what.
well,
the
Asgar's a good
typical
company. They
criteria
know what
is.
they're doing.
Yeah. So I'll pass that on to the electrical engineer and the developer.
The structure of that motion work for you?
Mhm.
Okay. We have a motion and a second motion by Mike, second by Van to approve the site plan. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
Thank you very
Motion
much.
carries. All right, the next item on the agenda. I know that Carrie was nice enough. Thank you for giving me that. It would be 8B D&K Properties LLC site plan for development of a commercial building on parcel 165-610.
Yeah, last night, Dan and the whole group over there presented their
And this memo with the small writing.
their commercial project on 35. It was recommended for approval by the planning commission. Once again, I'll go over some notes on Eric's memo on here. I had to do some editing again. We had some issues currently with the timeliness of submittals, and Russ and I have talked about it, and it's going to get much better now for the future for next year. So we're not running to these submittals with week lead times, and so everyone get their notes set aside. The new site for this does meet village code for parking. There are 59 spots for parking, and that new map that you got tonight, that is the final site plan for that. It was in your packet with the red lines on it, but this is a more finalized version of that map. So anything that was mentioned that staff is accepting of reduced stalls is not applicable in this situation. The landscaping provided and the signage is within village code. Eric did look at your new photometric plan. Was that one submitted for this project?
It hasn't yet. No.
But in terms of photometric plan, there were lights on the site plan and where they were located on. I'll let Russ talk about where the lights are located on the map. With this, you'll also tonight have to approve a CSM. On the CSM is a 60-foot right-of-way for future streets, and it also has the easement for utilities and a sidewalk or bike path. With that, last night, the planning commission made a recommendation that road be deemed an artery or a minor, not a collector, which does allow it to be a 60-foot right-of-way within village code. So there will not need to be a variance or anything based on the recommendation of the planning commission to deem that as a minor / Artery Road. This motion was passed last night or recommend for approval. I did clarify on number 15 with the village engineer, basically saying that the stormwater pond does meet village code. And the reason his memo stated what it says, it is, does not meet DNR design guidance standards. But they're not followed due to the existing ditch or stormwater in the area. The design was presented as acceptable to the village engineer and approved by the DNR as presented. So he just was basically saying that it does not meet DNR design guidance standards, and that's because of the site reconstructions that they have on the site, but it's still approved by the DNR. So it's kind of just a lengthy way of saying he has no issue with the design. The DNR has no problem with the design as presented. That was one of the questions the planning commission asked to get finalized last night. What else? I think that was it for the motion, and that motion was passed 5-0 last night.
Can you summarize a little bit of the background behind how the road conversation occurred?
Yeah, the road discussion, it was basically brought to, they discussed the future plans for the property to the west that is going to be industrial, not residential. And that they also plan to loop the street up to the Ridge Road, kind of creating a loop through it. So the amount of traffic going through here would not necessarily classify it as a collector street for the designation of collector street, so that the distinction of a minor or artery street is is rightfully founded here. I think that's the gist of that conversation that happened.
Was one of the reasonings for that too, was there was an airport overlay in play as well?
So yeah, it can never be
And-
developed as residential because
And
of
too
the
dense
airport.
residential back there, yeah.
Where did Kim stand on that 60 versus 80?
Kim, everyone voted 5-0 on that.
Tim was fine with it. Once he heard about the fact that they weren't going
So-
residential back there.
When you look at the Ridge Road design that we're currently looking at with D&K, whatever it is, or no,
Where's it?
where's her? There's a terrible set of angles there, and then you end up on top of the hill by Quick Trip. Probably a terrible intersection. This one looks like it's in a much better location. Somewhere down the line, 50 years maybe from now, that road, especially if it does open up to Quick Trip or on the Ridge Road, sorry, this should be the path Ridge Road should take to get back out to 35. I get that it's not going to be residential, but I still struggle with the idea that we're letting it be only 60 feet wide. When I think the ordinance, and this was the discussion at the last regular planning commission meeting is that it should be 80. So which then, hang on 2 seconds and then which brings me back to the comment that it is definitely commercial industrial. I really don't care what you do for lighting out there on top of that other comment, with the exception having some light at the intersection of, do we have a name for the new road?
That was the easy street joke.
Oh, it's not Dan's Road?
We have a couple names.
I'll give you can name it after me.
Okay.
Perfect. No, I don't, because later on when somebody complains it's too narrow, I don't want my name on it.
I was gonna let Mike, I was gonna let Russ,
Yeah.
Russ talk about the project design after the quick recap. of
Sure,
meetings last
yeah, okay, so I'm good. I don't like 60 feet, but whatever.
night. And Russ, Russ or Aaron, you wanna go through the site plan?
I'll give you a brief summary on the site plan. I guess the first one I'll talk about is the 60-foot right-of-way. As Devin mentioned, a year and a half ago, we prepared for Dan, the property to the west with residential. It was gonna be like a mixed-use PUD, residential multifamily duplex. And then once we found out the airport overlay zone covers a great portion of that project, and even before, I let Dan and Aaron with Derek know that we had an airport overlay zone, that the property was like industrial or commercial. They had already made a decision to back off the residential. They didn't think with that much residential, they could develop it over a period of time. And then the overlay zone came in. So what we did over the past week, should have it in your packet, a couple talking points on what we're recommending as a 60-foot, reason why and so forth. And Devin mentioned, the big one is that it's gonna be one loop road from Highway 35 as part of this project, loop out to Ridge Road. Ridge Road is an 80-foot right-of-way, which I'm assuming is classified as a collector. And then Highway 35 is in Ontario. So with just one single loop road, that meets the definition of a minor local street.
Okay.
Collector street, just like the word says, collector. They collect numerous local streets, collect those, and then bring it out to a collector, a minor collector, a major collector in Ontario. And that's what's proposed as this development. If you look at the code also, an 80-foot right-of-way has a 48-foot wide pavement section, which is typically 4 lanes, 4 12-foot lanes. So that's a very wide street for the village to own, operate, and maintain over the years, and replace and maintain, you know, as lieu of what we're proposing this, which is a 60-foot wide street, and your code says 36-foot width, which is 3 lanes. And then that's what we show as part of our typical section is 2 12-foot lanes and a middle center dual left turn. And if you drive throughout the area, there's a number of municipalities where the DOT have converted the 48-foot 4-lane roads to the 3-lane with the center turn lane, because it's much more efficient, it's much more safe and so forth. So that's what's proposed as part of this project. You have the option too, if you don't want to go to the center dual left turn lane, you can still have 2 lanes and parking on both sides of the street or parking on one side. With the 60-foot right-of-way, we also fit in the Village of Request on the south side, a 10-foot multi-purpose trail. And with that 36-foot width, add on the curb, we still have 8 feet of boulevard on the north side of the road. So traffic-wise, the looping, everything, we feel it meets the intent of a minor street. Again, your code and no one's code really goes in and defines it or explains it. So you have to kind of Google it or go to the DOT website, and it explains what they say a collector street is, what an arterial is, minor and local streets. So your code doesn't really define it. It refers to a master plan that I haven't been able to find that says this area shall have a collector. I even went through your recent comprehensive plan, the transportation section, and that doesn't show anything in this area as a collector street. So those are usually your 2 documents that you can hang your hat on.
Those are the definitions taken directly from our village code right there. So
When you get a chance, I do have a question.
Sure.
Can you tell me what the difference between what you have as a collector, right? What is the difference between that and a frontage road? Because I see the loops here and stuff, and I'm trying to kind of figure
Oh,
this
yeah.
out a little bit.
Yep.
Because I always pictured, as long as we're starting off by Quick Trip and we're heading, in a direction,
Yep.
but now we're doing loops and driveways. So could you explain that to me a little
So
bit?
a frontage road is typically a local minor street. In this project's case, the frontage road is only servicing this project and the Osceola Auto Body. So the frontage road on this project is a private street with a dedicated easement for village sanitary sewer and water system.
Okay.
But typically frontage roads, they're usually short stretches. It'd be unusual to see a frontage road as a collector road or
Okay.
an arterial. But it can happen with a large development.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
How wide did we make Simmon? The new part of
Simmon was built to 12-foot drive lanes, so the drive lanes are 12 foot. each.
36.
So it's a 36-foot road with 6-foot shoulders.
I'm trying to remember that one because there was a long negotiation with the town of that one for shoulder width and stuff.
I agree with Mike on this. I mean, I've been saying for a long time, even before I was on the board, that at some point the village needs to work with a dedicated planner, right? I mean, Mike brought up a good point. At some point, it's gonna make sense for Ridge Road to connect with this. And it seems like all too often, we have a project, we build it for that spec. We have a project, down the road, it's gonna cost us a ton, or it's gonna prohibit our growth or development or opportunities for other places if things aren't planned out, right? So I agree that it's done this way because for this particular development, that's all that's probably needed. But if we're looking at more than development, which you're not, because you have clients and they're business owners and they're trying to get by with what they can, we have to see what we envision for the village and do things the right way moving forward. So I don't know if this is good to stick with now or not. I mean, it's
Ron,
fine for this project.
You can ask the landowners and the developers. They're gonna develop the west of the property too.
Right, and I think it's fantastic, and I think it's perfect for them, but I'm thinking we should be able to work with any potential developers with what our future holds too in our vision, you know?
If I can make a comment on what Mike and what you're saying, I have a very strong difference of opinion that people are gonna come up Ridge Road, make a right turn and loop all the way through this 57-acre property back out to 35. They're gonna go immediately to the intersection where Quick Trip is. In fact, all of the future industrial park in this development will go out to Ridge Road and to Quick Trip. You know, because it's a convenience, small grocery store.
Yeah.
That people are working there that are gonna visit. Trucks in the industrial are gonna go out to Ridge Road because they're gonna go and get diesel fuel. So it's, my opinion, it's not gonna be the opposite.
Hey, and
That would make this
that very
look
well could be. And like I said, this is sufficient for this project, but if we actually had a city, village, community planner that worked with whoever's the elected officials are, with the administrator, with possible developers to maximize things, that'd go a long way. It'd be no different than a 10-year CIP, right?
Right.
The next 10 years, here's the areas we're gonna develop, here's what they're zoned for, here's how we want it to look. And then make projects that come here fit that, instead of making projects fit whatever zone they want.
So I'm gonna argue both sides for a second. So remind me again, how wide is Simmons? 40,
36.
36, and how much asphalt do we have here?
36.
Plus curb this time.
Yes. 2.5 feet each side. You
Yep,
got 5 feet of
which
total curb.
Simmons doesn't have curb, which makes it feel a little narrower. When you get around the corner onto the industrial part with curb, it feels like a landing strip. The 17 acres, I think that's the number behind here, that's there. Even if it does get turned into light industrial, it may very well be just the locals that use it. Ron, so I pulled up the aerial view of it. The next neighbor to the south is the Rybeck pit. And then I think there's a couple of fields back there that could turn residential eventually at some point, but then 68th becomes really the route
They
to go.
can't turn residential. The airport overlay goes all the way to the river.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the
so
restriction.
it's all,
It's all.
you know,
1 per 10 acres, yeah.
we have a new industrial park.
It's the
Yeah.
only thing.
Let's tear the airport.
And
up.
this road that's being
Better
put in,
taxes.
this road that's being put in is it's nothing more than a loop. And
Yeah.
I just don't see the sense
Well,
in putting a 60-foot wide pavement road. Like, not just, like, then you got the stuff on the side of it, like.
The other concern that I had was the ability to turn off a 35, because we've always talked about the reactionary side of the Wisconsin DOT.
Yeah, and I want the DOT directed to the Quick Trip intersection. I
So-
don't want
so
them directed
I
here.
will talk about the DOT one here. We have worked the DOT on this project. The DOT currently does not feel this project as it stands requires a turn lane onto it. They did say in the future development that might require a turn lane. In the development agreement we're working on with the attorney Paul and their attorneys over there, the development agreement is going to say if a turn lane is required, it's going to be paid for by the developers for it. Because they're donating this street to the village, we will be the permit holder. So technically, we're the ones that would have to pay for it, but we would get that money from the project that would need those turn lanes.
And I want to reiterate that this street is perfect for the current design. And that's, and my issue's not with that. But I want to.
Just forward-thinking.
Avoid another Gateway Meadows
There you go.
area with roads and development and
Example.
things designed for that, because that is not.
Even where Simmon gets onto 35 is too narrow for the amount of traffic that's
Right.
going through there now. And I'm just,
Simmon on 35.
yeah, Simmon on 35. Or excuse me, M.
M, okay.
It's as busy as 35.
Yeah,
Sorry,
well, the
Simmon and M.
cemetery doesn't help that.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, that one neighbor is terrible.
They're quiet though.
There, well,
They don't bellyache too much.
I agree that
Yeah, there's just no possible development that could happen back here that would necessitate making it a collector. It's just, it won't ever be a collector.
as it is an industrial park or commercial, it can't be residential. So it's got to be some level of commercial or industrial, right?
exactly.
Light industrial. yeah.
Sure. If you ended up with a manufacturing plant in there, sure, it could be very well a collector because you'd have a lot of traffic coming in there if there was people working back there.
But that's not the only criteria when
I know,
you look at
it's,
the requirements for a collector. You know, it's not just traffic, it's connectivity.
It's connectivity, yeah.
Funneling, local streets.
You know, how many local
What-
streets
what-
actually feed to
right,
it, and this
how many
isn't
will
gonna
feed
have
to it,
anything.
right.
It's one frontage, privately owned frontage road.
Right.
That's it.
okay, so I.
But
fairly
I
certain
agree,
we're-
you have a section in your, comp plan, there's a transportation section. Highly recommend you go in there and all you gotta do is create a map on future development and show where you want collector streets, you know, look at the whole development. And that would be very helpful to developers or anyone looking at it. And that's your teeth. Basically, that's why you have a comp plan. That's where
Yeah.
everything covers you on whatever.
And that's not in there right
decisions
now.
Well, it sounds like the airport overlay would trump a lot of that anyway.
Where's the
Um,
light that you want?
What's that?
Where's the light?
Out at Easy Street and 35.
But that doesn't intersect with 35.
You want to,
Easy Street, the frontage road?
the easier streets, right?
What's the
Yeah,
east west road?
we have a light at the frontage road and Easy Street right now.
Okay.
There's a light right at that. intersection.
What's the east-west road called?
The proposed one that is gonna be 60 or 80, that's
Yeah,
the, what's,
to
that's the
be
one that
determined by
potentially
the
be,
Conrads. They're
okay,
coming
that's
up with
the-
some
okay.
Street names.
Yeah, at that,
you want it at the corner of 35.
at the intersection of 35, yeah.
Right here where my mouse is.
Okay.
Yes,
Somewhere out there. I mean, we're starting to get enough intersections coming into town where it's, it wouldn't hurt to,
Yeah, it's kind of right
Start
now.
putting
You
some
can
light
see
in
it
there.
right
Especially
at
if there's
the
no turn lane.
intersection.
Yours is right here, right?
we're paying Excel to
Yep.
put those in, right? And then just billing.
can you move it again, Devin?
So the one that they have proposed is right here. And Mike wants.
No,
one
the
that's
arrow
also-
actually points to the inside edge.
No, that's, yeah.
The
that's
west edge of that
inside.
intersection.
Yeah, it does.
They don't have a
The intersection,
proposed.
so the intersection of the proposed street and the frontage road, the light is actually proposed on the west side. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
It, I could give a squat less about the frontage road. If somebody was coming into town, because we're right at that speed change, the southwest corner would be where
The light
some-
should be.
the light, I would think the light would be, because you've got traffic coming in from the south. Somebody trying to enter onto 35, if everybody can see what's going on.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the, kind of some of the accidents that have happened at like the old, where the fire department is now. You're coming in from a very dark part of the country into
Yeah.
the urban area.
It's all tasked.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Yeah, speed limit.
Well, and
Reduced.
again, we pay Excel to put a light in there, right? A street light.
Yeah, we work with Excel on that,
So they put a pole in, they put a light on it, and then they charge us $12 a month or something stupid.
some small amount.
We've asked twice, or at least twice in the last 3 years for a reduction in speed limit and the speed limit from the state. The state did studies and said, nope.
Yeah, what is the current speed limit at this intersection?
55.
55.
When does it go down?
It doesn't go down to 25 until top of the hill.
Ridiculous,
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's the light
it's
of
awful.
the
And, but unfortunately, the DOT is reactionary, not
Of course they
proactionary.
are.
So they're not gonna change anything until we build
They,
something.
they told me that they would look at doing,
Until you have that.
they would let us do a roundabout on 68th, but we would have to pay for it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, there
If you're
you go.
coming from the north and you're taking a right, you're not slowing down, you're out of the way. If you're coming from the south and you're
you
trying
wanna
to take
get
a
a left,
turn, or
you're-
somebody's there trying to take a left,
You're in trouble.
it
It's
can
dark.
be a challenge.
You're in trouble.
Can I just say, the the DOT is going to require a turn lane and a bypass lane in future development here. So you're gonna have a bypass lane when you're coming from the south. That's already been discussed.
On the east side of 35, you think?
Correct.
Yeah.
No, it's, they already told us that any more development along this would require.
Yeah, as they go west with that light industrial, that'll trigger the turn lanes. But this project, per the traffic impact calculations we provided to the DOT, it doesn't warrant the turn lanes at this time.
What, again, that's a cost for us to put the pole in there, right? It's not on them.
All we have to do is move it on our plan. and-
Well, you don't have anything. I don't
Add
know
it.
what you do on the north side of the road. I'm suggesting the
right here.
southwest.
Yeah,
He wants it right
Yeah,
But that's us to coordinate with Excel, right?
Can be any way we deem it.
State permits required.
DOT may want it outside of their right of way too. I don't know.
There's a
They
few
were
things
the
to work
one
there
that
on that one.
existing one.
Anything's better than nothing.
Yeah, you can put it next to the right of way.
You can just have that as a motion. I mean, if you're looking to pass it tonight, that work together to get a light on that corner.
Well, they're gonna be digging a 30-foot hole there, so they should be able to
Yeah.
move some things around.
At least.
What was the, I read a few things on trails and then I looked and I see that there's like a sidewalk maybe on the south side.
It's an easement for future, We don't want it to be built until we can connect to it. Otherwise, we have a 250-foot trail of nothing.
Nothing to the north.
Out to
Nothing
nowhere.
yet connected. Like, there's no reason to build it because it'll just be along, basically a straightaway.
So it'll be a 10-foot easement, just nothing on it at the time
At the time, that was my understanding.
until it's connected
Yeah,
to
it's
ridge.
It'll be part of the right of way where the trail can go in your village right of way at whenever.
Where
But it's 10 feet wide on our plan, asphalt trail.
on that?
Right here,
right
It's on the
south
big screen.
on the
Side.
south side.
The
South
lighter
side.
gray.
So I'm more concerned about going north back towards Quicker. Is there an easement that direction?
Well, that's gonna be part of the future development that we'll work together. Dan and I have talked numerous about a trail connecting the whole area.
Okay, where?
Well, there's no road there yet. It hasn't been built.
No, I get it, but
It's just,
Discussion in the plan.
this is allowing us to do future growth of the trail.
on the south side of the road, I was in the planning commission meeting two ago maybe. We talked about the idea that at some point, town's gonna connect out to the hospital.
So
I'm seeing it on the south side of whatever unnamed street, but I don't see anything heading back towards town. Is that not on here?
Correct.
Did you get a chance to talk to the Wild Violet yet about water hookup?
Since yesterday? No, but, they're excited about this project, so they're excited about the exposure, the traffic, their driveway change, everything about it.
I fear they'll be less excited when they find out they're now gonna get a water bill, because they're gonna have to hook up.
And I thought last night you talked about some kind of mercy thing that maybe that wouldn't have to happen.
They can appeal to not to hook up, but that's,
There's a whole
that's a
bunch of-
process.
There's a whole bunch of conversations that happen in like the planning commission meeting and they never seem to make it definitively to this meeting, nor to the end project. So I don't see anything wrong with this. I can appreciate the gentleman's handshake in the discussion. It doesn't hold any teeth. So
And there's a note on the plan for village staff review for both the Wild Violet and.
Yeah, that's such a-
Osceola, that they shall connect.
sure, onto the water.
Well, it's also part of our code, so there doesn't need
based
to,
on the-
there doesn't need to be
I-
any notes in here
in-
because code will just
Yeah,
dictate it.
exactly.
Yeah, I know that that's gonna probably become a point of contention later, and it's something just that needs to be voiced because they're not always going to be the person that owns that property, and then, I mean, it could be short, it could be a long time before ownership would change. It's changed once in the last couple of years, so it's hard to say, but
There'll be a stub there.
yeah,
So.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, Dan, it sounds like they're gonna get stuck connecting.
maybe. They're gonna have to go through a process.
Yeah.
Speaking for Gina and Corey, that, all of this project's probably gonna outweigh their
The
water,
pros and cons.
But I can't speak for them, but,
Yeah.
you know, they don't wanna water their plants with.
Sounds like they're gonna get stuck
water,
doing it.
but, Yeah, I can't speak for them. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're gonna have to approach the village for a variance and they'll have to
Yeah.
go through the Board of Appeals, so.
Stuff they
And
can
that's
go-
just unfortunate when you put a new street or development in and you bring municipal utilities, that's what your code says.
Right.
And all municipalities
Right.
have that same
Both.
code requirement. You know, like Brad said.
Sounds like they're greenhouse people, not code people.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's an effect.
And again, we've had these discussions in the meetings, and again, I'm gonna point back to the trail. I swear that we talked about wanting to see a trail going back north, and now it's like, it turned into mashed potatoes and there's no teeth in it, so it's gonna just happen.
I don't know where you put a trail to the north. If you look at the lot, I mean, you're gonna have to put something in the development agreement that future development would require the developer to do a trail.
I-
because
Totally get it. It was more of a recommendation for future planning, and I feel like there was some buy-in and some agreement, and now we're sitting here without it, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
this-
still approve it.
Yeah, the scope of this though,
But I guess my point is, if we go to the north here, we run into Osceola Buddy. Where the lot ends, so that's where the street ends, that's where the stormwater is.
yeah, the scope of the project doesn't provide
Sure,
a place to
It
put
could be an
anything right
easement
now.
for it. You know, just, there's-
Needs to go in the DOT right away. A trail in
you
that
guys moved-
area.
you moved the whole entrance onto the Easy Street entrance onto the unnamed street because of a comment I made that had no teeth in it either. So you could have just as well made an easement to the north too, using the same logic. So it's fine. I want to get out of here. I don't like special meetings. I'd like to see this done right the first time at a regular meeting.
And again, you know, back to our comp plan, that'd be another thing to throw in your comp plan. You know, a trail in this area, how it interconnects with this and looping back through.
When we did the
Down
comp
Ridge
plan, I don't know
Road.
that we knew that Dan was going to build something out here. either.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's,
somebody had some more forethought than we did.
But that's what the comp plan is for.
Right.
Undeveloped areas to show where you want trails,
Yeah.
collector streets, you know, a trail connectivity. Most all comp plans have a trail plan included in it. That includes sidewalk and trails.
yeah,
So
and
then when
we're back to the
someone-
conversation of you don't know that your code is deficient for something
Right.
until you try to build
Until you
something
find it.
within it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's the chicken and the egg. This plan does indicate, and I'll just cover this because we talked about it last night too, but on the north side of the property, you can see there's, on this updated map that everybody got, there's 7 parking spaces there with a 7 circled. I clarified that with Dan last night, that those 7 spaces currently live in a spot where they had originally looked at planned expansion, future expansion of the building. And so it sounds like, and this is just me putting words in his mouth, but he was in agreement with it. They're going to be approaching the village to potentially look at changing our code formula in this particular zone so that they don't have to have that many spots in there. So, because the formula just doesn't quite work for what they want, but unfortunately they have to comply. So they've now provided enough parking to comply with the current formula as it's written, but they're gonna try to find a way to help us write it better next year. And hopefully do that before they expand. Then they don't have to have those spaces there later.
Yeah, and that was a good discussion. We had the plan commission where we said, you know, right now your code is a one size fits all. But with this project being, office space, medical, you know, it's not retail with restaurants and large users that need that many parking spaces. So most communities are revising their code more of a commercial use space rather than a one size fits all.
I think I'd be more comfortable with putting a conditional use permit process in
Yes,
place.
that too.
That way the code stands as is and then it will fit no matter what use is
Right.
there.
Yep.
And if they find a use that maybe calls for less parking, they can apply for a conditional use permit to do something
Exactly.
different.
Yep.
But that needs to be called out in code first, and there's no provision for a conditional use permit
Exactly.
in the code for this particular zone right now, so. Other issues, questions?
No.
This one, Brad, just add one thing on the utility, when Brad mentioned, the big hole. We're extending water and sanitary sewer from the east side of Highway 35. with a directional drill methodology under 35 till we get to this property. The existing sanitary sewer at 35 is 28 feet deep. So we're connecting at that same elevation to get as much gravity flow as we can to the west.
Wow.
So a 30-foot deep
That's,
excavation is
that's,
been very difficult and very costly.
Very dangerous.
And dangerous, right. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be a
Would you say it
challenge.
was close to $1 million just for that one little bit?
Was there,
Yep.
was there contingencies put by the planning last night for this?
No, the only thing I did was,
Yes,
mean,
there
that's-
was contingencies on this one that was approved. Do you remember what they were?
the memo's got the whole motion.
There was an error in Eric's memo. I remember that. It was
Oh, the
passed
parking,
based.
the parking one was the memo. Was the
And
mistake.
then, yes, and then the other condition was that, it was conditioned on the updated parking map being provided, so. And then Eric's memo had an issue that was looks like there might have been a sentence that was left in his
No,
original.
it was not. I clarified that on note 15, in the packet you got today. There's
Yeah.
a note on 15. It was basically saying that it does not meet design guidance standards.
Got
However,
it. Okay,
it's
yeah, you
still
talked about that
acceptable.
already.
Yep.
We interpreted that as an issue last night. It was actually just the wrong way to interpret those words. So those are the only two that were put on there for the approval. Because this map that we thought was not provided was actually, it wasn't the map that was actually, it was conditioned on, it was Eric's memo.
Yeah.
Because Eric's memo mentioned only 52 spots when it was actually 59 on the map that was in the planning commission memo, so.
So if there was a motion to be made, it would be contingent the
Parking is
recommendations
met.
by
Yeah.
SEH?
Yeah.
So I'd make the motion that we approve this plan, including the recommendations by SEH and that the village pursue a light fixture at the southwest corner of proposed street and 35.
I'll second that.
And deeming the 60-foot right away as a minor, I believe that was part of the motion.
Was that included in there?
Yes, it was
memo?
included.
That was also
So it's
included in last night's approval, was deeming that road a 60-foot
And that
minor,
this is a
60-foot.
65-foot minor,
60.
60-foot
60.
minor,
Where did you say you want that light southwest corner?
southwest corner.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, somewhere around where
Making
the,
a recommendation,
stop
they don't
sign.
even have to do it.
Well, yeah,
We like
smart.
following everyone's recommendation.
Yeah,
We like to work with
smart.
you.
you got it in, Carrie?
Yeah, I'll have to listen to it back. I didn't get it all,
You get close, I'm happy with
but
it.
I got it recorded.
It would be
Okay.
a motion to approve on the condition that we follow SCH's recommendations, install a light fixture on the southwest corner of 35 and proposed street, and designate the proposed street as a minor collector, or a minor,
Excellent clarity.
Minor local street.
it's just a minor street,
Yep, minor street. It's fine.
it's not a collector. And Van seconded it.
Yep.
Okay, discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
I-
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is 8C survey map for same parcel.
Yeah, and this would be follow the same recommendation last night. The planning commission recommended this preliminary CSM for approval by the village board
With one correction,
that Ben Krumenaar gets changed to Devin Swanberg.
still didn't fix the name on the proposed.
I gave,
Survey.
I gave that to our surveyor today. That's all I did.
Did you tell him that he owes you a coffee? too?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, good. So we're looking for a motion to recommend that this survey be approved with the proposed condition change.
Give me 2 seconds before somebody makes a motion. I want to find it. I think I have.
Page 73
What, 73?
Of the
Yes.
packet.
of the packet, if that helps.
It's labeled as preliminary. So
There-
changes can be made before it's submitted to the county.
When does the ownership of the road, does that get captured on here? Because I see,
Yeah, it's called the public street dedicated to the public, which is the village of Osceola. Any public
where does
right
it
of
say
way.
that on here?
In the
So when
bottom
it's
right
written-
corner, proposed street dedicated to the public.
On page 70.
Right.
Yes,
73.
Oh, sorry, I was on 74.
right above the approved by Ben.
Yeah.
Is
Just
there
let
something
him
that-
know that he,
Yeah.
you know, he's still in the
I
game.
mentioned at the plant commission,
He's still in the game.
we know Ben because he's working in one of our Green Bay office.
Oh,
That's our
yeah.
municipal
Yeah.
client is
So-
Ben.
So the note that's turned 90 degrees that says dedicated utility and access easement that points to the road.
Yeah, the
Frontage
frontage
road.
road. That's covering the village water and sewer extension for this project and Osceola Auto Body. It's in a 50-foot easement. 10 feet between the water and sanitary and 20 on one side of the water and one side of the sanitary. That was a,
I'm not a surveyor, but I could argue that there's no delineation between the proposed street and the dedicated utility. There's no line that separates those two.
yeah, we don't typically dedicate private roads and streets.
I could argue that only from the S 3347 E dash line north is the only part that's the dedicated utility. And that in theory, maybe just the proposed street up to that line is the dedicated to the public.
The dashed in area, that pretty much follows the frontage road up to Osceola Auto Body.
How do I know where one ends and the other starts?
It has a dash line. That's the 50-foot utility easement dedicated.
Right here. See the lines, the little dashes?
Scroll back out to that. This dedicated utility. Scroll up, no. Yep, so that's the dedicated utility. Go back down.
And access easement.
This piece right here, I'd argue is the only thing you're pointing to.
No, it's,
Just bear with me a second. I get it, I know what you
Yeah.
meant. Your drawing is okay. Down here, this piece, there's no delineation right here.
that's a 10-foot utility easement next to
Okay,
the
so
right of
scroll
way.
down. Scroll down a little bit more. This note, proposed street, points to this area. Where does, which is which?
It's that whole
I know
60-foot
what you
area.
meant, but that's
Right.
not what's clear in the drawing.
Go to the blow-up
No.
section.
I
I
get
mean,
what.
we don't put arrows and cover the whole thing. You have to
I
put
live on a
an
street that was
arrow.
screwed up because of a shitty survey drawing.
No, that's not true. We,
No, I do live on one that's shitty.
that's true. But that's a standard surveying practice.
I get it, but it was,
So
I'll
it's
tell you
not-
that-
It's not a shitty surveyor.
bear with me 2 seconds. The drawing that got submitted for the little piece of property that I have a private road on clearly states that it's owned by the village, but the village disputes it. I could argue that same thing here.
It's public.
I-
I don't know how
I-
else we can dedicate it.
I get it,
Put a
but there's
leader
no line that says where does it start and where does it end?
The road?
Yeah.
This dark path right here is,
Yeah,
is the
it's
road.
60 feet. There's a 60-foot dimension.
Yeah,
on it.
this 60-foot is is gonna be the village road. This dash line up here is the utility easement on the north side of the road, and the
I
easement.
feel like there
continues
could be a
north.
better delineation between the two. I'll still approve it.
Want me to color it?
If it was colored,
Do whatever, but it's not,
it's just a black and white deal.
The
In-
county will not accept shades and colors on dedicated documents. So we have to
I-
follow
Yeah, it's. to me-
chapter 236 state code and county code in terms of recording. They're really particular on things you put on the map to get it recorded. So if you put color and shading all over, they will not accept it recorded.
This one seems very straightforward to me of where the 60-foot right away, or 60-foot.
yeah, I'm not a surveyor.
So the little balls with the different colors, the black triangles and the half.
It is, there's no line there.
But again, I'm not a survey either, so I can't.
This, I can guarantee if this ended up in a legal dispute with somebody with money, there'd be a good argument here.
It might be, but I've seen it in,
Way out of
look
my
at all the
wheelhouse
stuff we've
here,
looked
so.
at. We've looked at tons of stuff like this.
I just literally had a survey done. They draw pretty definitive lines
Who
on
did
who
that?
owns what.
I know, but
This one doesn't look anything like the survey map that I just got, where it shows who owns what.
maybe it's a whole new thing going on. A new
Mine was just
CAD
raw
program.
land. So anyway, I'll still approve it, but it's,
Yeah.
there's some ambiguity here.
Like I said, it'd be nice to shade it or color it, but they won't accept it that way.
We've looked
That
at a
would be the
million of
way to
these.
make it stand out, but the state and the county register of deeds office won't let us do that.
Well, and maybe at some point there's a legal description that talks about it.
No, because it's
Talks
all dedicated as part of the CSM. If you were just doing the road by itself, there would be a legal description with it. That's the reason you're doing a certified survey map, a minor subdivision. Is that you don't have to give a legal description for everything. You just dedicate it and, add the language and the leader lines to it.
Okay, so one last question, then I'll get off my soapbox here. What's that line that runs somewhat east and west that's designated as S 843347 east?
That looks like the boundary of the east side of the property line.
Yeah, that's a bearing. You see the two circles? There's a little bit of a curve there. So that's the bearing between those two circles, which are property corner monuments, right-of-way monuments.
No, I think here,
Is that the,
let me take control, Devin.
Okay.
Mike is talking about this line
Yep.
right here.
oh, that's,
That's the current property line.
yeah, that's the current property line for Osceola Body.
Yeah.
So this
got it.
CSM overlays, corrects that, overlays it with the new property because we had to move this
Okay.
development to the north
I've looked this map a
onto
lot.
Osceola Body, so that's why we're renumbering the lots.
So that long dashed line indicates what the old property line
Exactly.
used to be for
Yep.
the old parcel.
Correct.
Okay.
And that'll go away when the CSM is recorded.
So the new property line L10 from the little circle to the other circle is that's the new south property line.
Southern boundary. Yep.
Yes, correct. And then the dash line next to it is a 10-foot utility easement.
So possibly then the proposed street boundary is the heavy line from
Yep.
L10 to L5 to L4, and there's nothing on the south end.
And that's
Yep,
the
correct.
60 foot
Yeah.
from the
That's
south
the
of the
60
property
foot.
north.
Just a little one.
Okay. Again, I'm not a surveyor.
Well, it's hard though to figure it out, but you're asking all the good questions.
Yeah, they're good questions. If you're not a surveyor or engineer, they're definitely legitimate confirmation questions.
I don't know.
We'd be looking for a recommendation not a recommendation, a motion to approve.
But there was the correction on the name and what else?
Well, it's a preliminary one, so they can make changes before they submit it, but our motion should indicate what changes we want, if any, which is at least the name on the bottom, so.
Yeah, we want to name the street before we provide the final for village signature and then recording at Polk County.
Yeah, I don't know that our motion needs to dictate the name of the street. We just want you to name it,
Yeah,
so.
and the final will include that.
Well, it's Dan's Avenue, isn't it, or
Yep.
something? So,
Sign Street,
right.
Please, no,
Sign Street. Yeah.
Sign Street.
nope.
I worked on a lot of subdivisions where all the names are family.
Yeah.
names.
Well, they would be, yeah. I mean,
So the motion would be to approve the survey with the indicated name change and the requirement that the dedicated public proposed street be named. Doesn't
So-
need to have a specific name, just named.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Arvid. We have a motion to approve this survey with the indicated changes. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion
Thank you very
carried.
much. Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
you.
All right, we are at 8D, approving the change of the agent for Class A combo beer and liquor license and tobacco license for Quick Trip. I'm not sure how this one snuck in here, but
They're a new person?
Yeah, just had a new person come in.
Oh, it's a manager.
Application, everything checked out.
I will move that we approve that change.
I'll second.
We have a motion by myself and a second by Nicole to approve that change. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. All right, so we're on to 9 future agenda items and updates. Nicole?
I think with tonight, we've seen that a lot of our codes could be rewritten or improved upon. I'd like to maybe take that into account at future meetings, maybe look into something like that.
We're starting that process at the planning commission. Planning
That
commission.
sounds to me like you want to be on the planning commission, Nicole.
That was mentioned last night. Now that we have kind of a lull in development for the first time in a long time, that we have some time to go over some code.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's heavily needed, especially with that Verizon code and technology the
Right.
way it is. And
He gave a
and all
couple
of
good
that.
ideas as far as the comp plan.
yep,
Just a couple quick things to add to put some bite into things.
absolutely.
Yeah, and Mike's been talking about lighting and photometrics for a very long time.
Right.
That's all.
Okay, thanks. Harvick?
Ron has twice brought up now having some kind of planning
Village or city planner.
procedure, and I would be willing to join with you in trying to organize something of that nature.
Like master plan type stuff?
Just work with the board and committees and businesses to see what we would like to see in the future, kind of like a CIP, but for roadmaps where we can put maybe sidewalks or ideas and kind of plan out a vision.
We
So
can-
when a project comes to Devon,
We can add all that stuff to the comp plan. We can do amendments. We can do amendments to the comp plan.
Okay.
That'd be a good place for it to lie. Do amendments to comp plan.
Good idea. Ron?
I would like to know if Mike's a surveyor.
Nothing
Nothing else for me.
Been in the weeds with one recently though.
They're tough.
The only thing I have is that Devin and I both took a picture of a track hoe today, so there's something happening at the hospital now. So
Oh,
Yeah, there's an excavator.
there's that's a track hoe, but
There you go. See? There's a bright shining light.
I think they're starting grubbing this week, and then they're gonna start knocking the building down on December 1st.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's that.
I don't have anything more.
SEH has the capacity to do what we've been talking about, or what you just mentioned. They're a big company and good. Without having a city planner, I think having them just go back through and make comments every once in a while, we could probably capture a bunch of this stuff. The other thing too, if Russ has got to bring better stuff to the plans.
We talked about that.
I've already got it. I've already got
No,
that.
like I don't want to approve anything else on the planning commission or the board that needs correction. He's been
That
doing
was
this long enough.
my exact comment
It
today.
should come through clean.
That's
I sent them a very
exactly what I
long-
said to Eric today.
I sent them a very long email yesterday regarding all
Yep.
that.
And Eric asked about what we were looking for, and I said, very simple, Eric. I want it ready to approve. I don't want conditional approval anymore.
It's hard to capture these conditions. I mean, one maybe.
mhm.
Maybe there's some, but these details are garbage.
Yeah, they were incomplete, many of them.
I'm sure
Agreed.
he prefers that for his customers too, at least.
Yeah, it's easy.
It's a lot of rework for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I don't think it's fair to the board to have to make these tough decisions on stuff that, I mean, I have to face it, I'm ignorant to a lot of this stuff. I mean, I get some of it, I can get the flow of it,
Leverage the partners to get that work done for us. Like, we don't want to have to try to find.
you know, I've been on for what, almost 9-10 years, and I still am learning so much, and it's like impossible to figure it all out.
Yeah.
These guys are getting paid buku bucks
Right.
to present this platter of happiness to us that we shouldn't have to go through this.
Mhm.
That's all I got to say.
What else?
Nothing.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks, everybody. We are
Thank you.
at 7:14.
Everyone be safe if they're going out hunting. I am not.
I gotta